Welcome to the podcast. I haven't named it, probably still walked out.
It's called You Should Watch X.
Is that what
podcast.
it's called now?
You Should Watch.
Okay.
It's called the You Should Watch podcast. And this episode is You Should Watch 3,000 Years of Clapping, of Longing.
Yeah. So we have a list of movies that each of us have seen, but one out of the three of us hasn't, or maybe two or whatever.
Yeah.
But Stuart and Ben here, say hi because you haven't said anything,
Hello.
have seen 3,000 Years of Longing, and I haven't. So I'm going to leave. They're going to say what they think of the movie and what they think I'm going to think of the movie. Maybe make a little bingo card of anything you think I might say or react.
And then we're going to strap him to a chair. You've seen Clockwork Orange, I trust. We're going to do the meme to him with his eyes
they're gonna
pinned open.
Bolt my eyes open with the optometry things,
Yeah.
the little water droplets, and they're
Yeah.
going to play classical music.
Over it and ruin the movie experience.
Yeah.
So, Matt, get out of here. Me
I
and
will
Ben
fuck
have got
up.
some discussing to do.
And good riddance.
So, Ben, I can't remember shit about this movie. Can you?
I can.
That's
I really
good.
like this film.
What is your expectations for Mateus?
I think he's going to like it. I really do.
Wow, insightful.
Yeah.
What specifically do you think you will like?
This is kind of weird, but I think I'm basing it on Matt's music taste, where he tells me he likes kind of, not slower stuff, but stuff where you can sort of clearly hear the rhythm of it.
Fair enough.
And I'm hoping that translates into the film, where it is like very clear kind of what's going on. It's just like a very nice story, is the way I
Yeah.
would describe it. Or a set of like very nice short stories.
That's what I was going to say. It's like an if it wasn't a movie, it would make a great TV show, like a one-season special.
Yeah.
But I could see this being dragged into like 16 seasons in a movie.
It's also quite odd as well. Like,
That's what I like most about it.
yeah.
But I think it's British made. I know it's set in England, obviously, but we do weird right as a culture.
Yeah.
Just ask all of our people in media. We do it right.
I think so. I think so. It's like, it's very, I don't want to say understated, but like, it never really goes over the top. It's
Correct.
never outside. I don't think it outstays its welcome. I just think it's a very, very solid, like, well-told story.
Yeah. Which story from The Genie do you think Matt is going to enjoy most? So, for those that haven't watched, The Genie tells, I believe it's 3 stories
Yeah.
to our woman,
Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton, thank
Yes.
you. And which one of those 3 do you think Matt will enjoy the most? Because, of course, there's the one where
He tells a story
Solomon
about
shows up.
Shiva.
Yeah, Solomon shows up and cucks him.
Yeah.
And that's how he gets imprisoned in the first place.
Yeah.
The story of the first owner, the story of him being invisible, the story of him making her as a genius, and stuff. And then those are the 4, aren't they?
Yeah, and
Which
then it's like-
which era do you think Matt will enjoy the
I
most?
think the story about the genius, and
Yeah?
I'm just doing that off my own personal taste, to be honest. Like, I just think it's you. At that point, you've got to know the characters.
Yeah.
And that's not to slag off the other 2 stories. I think they're all great, but I think the third one for me is probably the strongest. The concept of it and of him giving her like knowledge in bottles.
I think for me, my favourite, I really like the second story with the woman, the monkey paw sort of story, where the woman wishes to be with a man, wishes to be with child, wishes for something else, and it blows up in her face, basically. I think it's a solid monkey paw of a story, if that's a adjective I can use.
I think so. I think the first one is like a quite nice introduction to the world, and then the stories from there just take it like further and further for me.
Yeah.
Like, just keep elaborating on stuff. But
That first story sets the tone of this magical world. It's weird and it's whimsical, but it plays it straight, like it could be actual history.
yeah,
And these are real people and genie that existed. And it plays it completely straight despite the absurdity of the situation.
yeah. I mean, if we're going to name one scene in particular
Yeah.
that stands out, and I know I said I like the third one the most, but I think the scene that stands out to me most in the film is actually from the first story,
Yeah.
where Solomon turns up and he's playing that weird guitar type. I don't even know what it is. It's got like drums on it. It's got a little guy playing another instrument on the top of the thing. Like, I just thought that was really creative. It makes quite an interesting like sound and song. I mean, I've got it all saved on my Spotify playlist because it's so good.
Out of curiosity, when was the last time you watched this movie?
I think a couple of months ago.
Oh, okay, much more recent than me then.
I think I just sort of associate it with summer, which is why I quite like it.
Summer, really?
Yeah, it's just kind of like a nice chill out evening type film.
Okay.
It's not like at no point does it get your heart racing, but I quite like that about it.
It's chill. It's simple and it's not fast and furious. Would you rate it as a date movie? It's horny enough.
It depends. I think if you've known the person for a little bit and you know that's what they like, then yeah, sure, I think that's a solid date film. As like a first timer, you might weird out the person that you're trying to, impress.
Yeah.
So maybe not first time, but like.
From what I know about Matt and from what I know about Lucy, his fiancée, for context, I think it wouldn't be a good date movie for them. I think it would be too weird for her. And I think it might be too weird for Anne-Marie, my fiancée. And stuff. Sorry, ladies. I don't know. I think she might enjoy it, but at the same time, I tried to make her sit through the Colour Out of Water Out of Space. What's it called?
Colour Out of Space.
No, the water one.
The Shape
of Water. Thank you. Yeah, I tried to make her sit through the Shape of Water, and her comments was, "Okay, she's a fish as well," and I'm like, "Yes, and it's beautiful."
I've not seen that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, everyone. Spoilers.
Yeah.
To rewind a little bit, I tried to make my fiancée sit through The Shape of Water, and she thought it was too weird, and I was heartbroken because I love that movie. Why I love that movie so much, because it's so fucking weird. And 3,000 Years of Longing is weird as well, if not more weird. And that's what's so beautiful about it. To rewind all the way back, yeah, I think Matt will definitely enjoy this movie. That's why we put it on the list. You agree?
I would agree. I think this is a film that's hard to not enjoy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just think it's very, very good. Very solid, very well told.
You heard it here first, folks. It is good. Let's get Matt in here. We'll watch the movie, and when we come back, we will find out exactly what Matt has to say. Will you agree with us? Ooh. Matt!
I overheard Stuart going, "Yes, and it's beautiful."
I was talking about something else. I went on a tangent
Different
about the Shape of Water. Have you ever watched that?
The Shape of Water? No. I
Oh, we got to add that to the list. Have you
I think
already
it's on
paused
the list. You've got it down there as getting you laid twice.
It did get me laid twice, and
Yes.
it's a solid.
That's why I added Jupiter Ascending below it, because that got me laid.
Oh, God.
Jupiter Ascending got you laid, really? Was it Mila Kunis energy, or was it Channing Tatum energy?
I mean, it was just the movie we watched before I got laid. To be
Are we
honest.
still
We're
recording?
still recording.
That's fair.
All right, let's watch 3,000 Years of Longing.
Yeah.
And stop. We've seen the movie. I thought it was really fucking good. What should we do? Just say what I thought?
Just give us your overall thoughts to begin with.
Yeah.
Overall thought, very romantic and extremely pretty movie.
Yes.
I like how it's basically the story of kind of like women relative to power.
Ooh.
Yeah, like almost all of them are queen, sort of ending up marrying king, the mother of two sons, who is the one sort of wielding power and actually moving people around, trying to control things. The one trying to gain all of the intelligence while also being like basically a sex slave. And then the one trying to understand stories. And she's clearly desperate to feel happy in herself in a way that she actually feels lonely. Does that make any sense?
It does.
I'm assuming you guessed everything I just said in perfect quotes, and this we're going to
Exactly.
flashback to you saying that verbatim.
Yeah, I'll be honest. You brought up. I didn't even consider power at all.
Yeah. Because it's about wishes.
But
What are those
of course,
about?
I mean, in hindsight, I'm an idiot, and it's obvious. He's the most powerful being in that world, and yet throughout history, he's constantly had women with power over him,
Yeah, it's sort of
one way or
it's
another.
multiple stories of people. All the different stories involve a person being trapped in a position, kind of like the
Apart from
intelligent
Athea.
woman. Well, she's the current one, but she's sort of trapped by being autistic.
Sorry, who's the queen at the very beginning?
Oh, Sheba.
Sheba. Sorry, apart from
Yes.
a Sheba.
Yeah, so Sheba, a good point. She is actually just the queen. But then, wizard guy comes along, traps her guy.
Oh, yeah, she
Yeah.
trapped her in love.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like Sheba is where it starts. But what I'm thinking is there's a really interesting thing going on where there's the woman who wants all the knowledge. I kept forgetting her name and thinking it was Alethea or whatever, but she's the main character.
Oh, Zafir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
So
can
there's-
tell the film's good because I remember everyone's names.
Yes. Gotta say, I remembered everyone's names, all of the characters.
I've got
Idris
some
Elba.
recurring jokes to spread with you people
Tilda
later
Swinton.
on as well, so we'll come back to the recurring
Okay,
jokes.
will recur. Those will recur.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, fuck, where was I going with this? So there's a really interesting thing where, like, there's all these stories of, like, women and men at different points basically kind of being sex slaves, as it were. And that's what he is. So he gets put in that position as well, while having all of the power in the world.
Yeah,
I think-
paradoxical.
Yeah. So he has power, but he can only give it to other people. And like he does that, and it is kind of awful. But the sort of metaphor for love thing, where you can only give it willingly, it's a lot of the stories kind of reaffirm that.
Yeah.
So like Sheba sort of willingly decides to fall in love with this guy, and he basically just has to fuck off.
Yeah.
And then the second one, where like the two sons, I did like them sort of name dropping the real historical figures, and then just being like, actually, in Sheba's time, there was just a magic giraffe guy. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just a room full of demons and shit. And
They were all
instruments.
jinn. A lot of those jinn, two of those jinn actually show up at the very beginning. That's who
Yeah.
stole the trolley and stuff.
I didn't notice it was the one who stole the trolley, but like,
He's in there.
it was cool that like the world's just full of jinn, and then they all just kind of disappear.
That's one of the most interesting things. It's a recurring theme in like a lot of stories. The world used to be magical, but as time progressed, as we got more modern, the world just became very
Yes.
unmagic.
I do
Cool.
quite like this movie's way of doing that by having it be the fucking radio and TV. Just be like, there's too much shit going on that something that transcends our experience of being matter could possibly exist in. I've actually heard that was something someone posted on Reddit years ago. I mean, like, if an alien that lived on a world where they saw through radio waves came to Earth, they would just be fucking blinded.
That's an interesting thought.
I do
Yeah.
like the kind of, might be a basic point, but the metaphor of like stories are the source of power.
Yes.
Where, like with the prince and, you know, his
I was
bloodlust.
hypnotized by the story.
Yeah, the only way to quench his bloodthirst or alcoholism is to tell him a story. But it's also like she meets the jinn who basically wants to return to the realm of jinn where they tell each other stories. And she meets him while at a convention where everyone goes to discuss stories and tell each other stories.
It's a theme that sort of dissects all the levels of the movie. Not dissects. It like cross-cuts all the levels of the
Intersects.
movie. Intersects, yeah. So like there's him telling the stories of the different levels, but there's also them interacting, and he's telling the story of, you know, another storyteller and things like that. But like the gist is people essentially having power over each other through stories. Although it doesn't literalize that much. They do just literally tell stories. But then I suppose it has to be a bit about stories if you're going to do a genie, because of the whole fucking Arabian Nights.
I don't know. I think it comes full circle because throughout all the stories that the jinn is telling Alethea, they always end up screwing him over, or it ends badly, and it's only through like
Yeah,
the
he could very
messages.
much be lying.
Yeah, it's only through the messages of those stories that she's ultimately able to make the right choice and set him free, which makes her different.
Yeah, because the first thing she does is trap him in just sort of another bottle, but it's, you know, love or whatever. In the sort of, I don't want to reference Harry Potter, but, you know, with Voldemort being fucked up because he was born, because a woman was basically raping a guy with a love
Actually,
potion.
that's not true. The fans came up with that. That's not actually
Oh,
true.
isn't it? Oh,
it's not
okay.
true.
It mentioned something
I say
like
not
it.
true.
I guess they just extrapolated.
Yeah, people made
Okay.
it sounds cool, but no. That
The
was
guy,
gonna be,
he
yeah.
was just a psycho, though.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing wrong with that. Some people are just psychopaths.
Some people are.
It makes it more interesting. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I remember listening to those books because I also audiobooked them. I had the Terry Pratchett growing up rather than Harry Potter because the Harry Potters belonged to my siblings. They didn't like to share. Yeah, like I remember that as being, if not mentioned, at least kind of implied. But then I guess maybe other people saw that and then just took it to the literal.
Yeah.
Did you ever read Going Postal?
Yes.
That's my favourite.
Oh, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about Terry Pratchett recently. I'm reading his, I'm listening to his biography, Life with Footnotes, written by his assistant, essentially. And it's really good.
Yeah.
But, also watching Good Omens. I just watched Good Omens too.
Oh, me
Lucy's
too.
Away. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've not seen any
I
of
won't
it.
spoil anything, but you've probably heard that the ending is sad.
No.
Oh, okay.
I know
well,
nothing
that's what
about
we've been
it.
hearing about. The ending is sort of, depending on how you view it, can be quite sad.
Okay.
So a lot of people have been crying over it on
I
Twitter.
really want to talk about it, but we've
Yeah.
got a reason to
I'm
be
not going to
here.
share any details, but basically, Lucy is away on holiday, and we started watching it together. She downloaded it because she's in the middle of fucking nowhere Romania right now. She's literally in Transylvania with the vampires.
I see.
Yeah, so we've now watched it separately. I've caught up, and I kept sending her things just to like imply the ending is really fucked up.
Oh.
Just be like, oh, I can't believe he dies.
No.
It's like, oh, it's so sad that. And I sent that GIF of from the first series. There's a bit where Crowley collapses on the ground, and I sent her that.
Oh. Yeah, speaking of small details, you know the little orange patch that Jin has on his beard, like here?
Yes.
Like just at the bottom. If you notice, when he goes to London and starts getting bombarded by the electromagnetic waves, it turns like grey and white. Just that little bit. Even before he turns to ash or whatever,
Yes.
you can tell he's becoming more and more...
I was a little confused by that. It wasn't to do with him going to London that made it worse, was it? Because it's not like
think it
Turkey
did.
doesn't have all the radio and TV.
No, but not to the extent that, like,
Especially London.
London does.
Yeah, but like they're in the middle of so much of like the developed world in Turkey.
Yes, but I think, like, with...
Like London's got a lot, but like every city has.
The thing with Istanbul is that it's quite big, and so I assume that's more kind of spread out, whereas London is comparatively small-ish, and
I have
everything is
another
kind
theory.
of concentrated.
Condensed.
I
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
another theory. They were in a big fuck off concrete building, just less signal.
Actually, you know what? That's actually a thing.
It could also
Or stone building.
it could also be like the effect of
Just
being
time.
bombarded over time.
Yeah.
So it may not be anything to do with the location.
She was clearly warned about the X-ray machine.
The
'Cause
first,
she was worried.
Yeah, the first thing he did though was step out into the garden and go ooh on his ears and stuff because of all the noise.
But that was also
again,
the
that's
first
a
thing to
London
teleport.
thing. I'm agreeing with Ben. It's like, I'm not saying Istanbul doesn't have internet. It's just worse. Fucking London's the
But
worst.
Maybe.
But it's
And
also-
definitely
London kids.
in our last flat, when you looked on the fucking Wi-Fi list, there was something like 40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a bit much for a gin.
Which you
Yeah.
don't really get.
Yeah, you never get any fucking signal either because all
Yeah.
the channels are full. God.
Exactly.
Maybe I'm a gin. I hate that shit.
Well,
I like the grounded nature of it. Like, obviously, myth blends into mythology, becomes stories, becomes history of sorts. That
Yes.
probably sounded good in
The
my
running
head.
thing of the leg hair, I was like, is this like a storytelling, is this like creative license, or is this people supposed to have ridiculous...
I know the story was a book at some point, which I will audiobook at some point. I'm going to assume that the creators went into their histories and researched the mythology because if it's completely made up, then kudos. But it's so intricately written and presented that it sounds like it could be based on real mythology.
There's definitely, like, you know, you don't name drop Saloon the Magnificent and then just, like, make the rest of... Well, maybe you do make the rest of it up. But, like...
Plenty of writers do that. It makes them sound more intelligent.
Yeah, I realise, actually, that's
Yeah.
bollocks. Like, I feel like you wouldn't just name those characters and not at least have some gist if you're going to write a story about a woman who has read all the fucking mythology and shit.
Yeah.
But then maybe they're just lazy. Like, we found that out about the boy in striped pyjamas. You know about this, right, Ben?
God. Maybe not here.
Oh, okay, wait. You know at least what we're implying, right?
I know that it's not entirely historically.
It's not at all.
It's so historically inaccurate that the Holocaust Museum has disavowed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You weren't there for that conversation.
Oh, I thought you were. Sorry. Yeah, no, the guy who wrote it's kind of just like extremely self-righteous dick, and he just guessed everything.
Oh.
It's kind of funny because they show you that shit in school, like to, I don't know, teach you about it or something. But it's complete.
Yeah. If
We
you
all know
do,
that never happened.
if you do want to watch a great Holocaust film, go and watch The Pianist.
Oh, I watched that with Lucy. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
good. Really.
I didn't know that was what Adrian Brody was famous for.
No. Yeah. No, he's really good in it.
I think he's slightly better in Meteor City, Asteroid City.
Asteroid
Yes.
City.
Yeah.
God, I could have delivered that better if I'd remembered the name.
Well, the thing is, speaking of trivializing the Holocaust, harkening all the way back to bad butterflies, as it were, you sniggering at the CGI at the very beginning, at the genies that appear to Tilda Swinton, and you're just like, "Ooh, that's some shitty CGI." And you,
Hang
Ben,
on, no,
were very angry.
sorry, hang on, let me just take this up. You son of a bitch. This is not a big budget film.
It's not.
And it does
I
not...
mean, it looks very good. Actually.
Yes.
Like overall,
Sniggering
this
at
movie
the
looks
start.
great.
I can't...
Which one did I snigger? Was that one in the airport with the guy?
The white guy that shows up.
Oh yeah.
The
No, that was
ghostly-
because of him standing up and being like bullshit.
That was
But
great.
also the CGI did look a bit Actually, no, it was all right. Like there was clearly a style they were going for. I don't know in retrospect what the deal was. Do you meet a Jinn before you meet a Jinn?
I'm going to go on the
Back in time a bit?
assumption that obviously they're otherworldly beings, but I think maybe they could see her fate and they were fated to meet each other.
Oh, maybe.
And he was literally trying to drag her to Istanbul, meet him sooner, or something.
I mean, he's talking about, like, during the film, calling out to people and trying
Yeah.
to tempt them towards where he's at so that he can be set free and grant them wishes and whatever. Maybe it's a form of that.
Maybe. I mean, it could
they
just
were-
be that the place itself is just full of Jinn.
Yeah.
Just constantly fucking around. Like in American Gods, where there's the Jinn taxi driver.
Not seen that either.
Oh, well, you watched Good Omens, right?
Yes.
Have you read it?
No.
Oh, okay. It was
on the
Neil
list.
Gaiman and Terry Pratchett
Yeah.
wrote it together. But yeah, Neil Gaiman did American Gods. Really fucking good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your point about the taxi driver.
Oh, yeah, so there's a Jinn taxi driver
Right.
who, one of the sort of main characters in it, just meets him in his taxi. They're a gay couple, basically. But they end up fucking and he gets given the Jinn's taxi, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a, you know, weird little mythology moment where they meet, do something for each other, and then sort of they swap places and he moves on. And part of it is him trying to go find the Jinn. It's quite cool, but like Neil Gaiman in general is a really good researcher.
Ah.
So if you, any shit he tells you about like mythology and stuff, I would believe.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and like they do a similar thing with like quite literally the Jinn guy
Yeah.
being like, "I'll take your luggage."
Yeah.
I was going to move on to a different, like, section now.
Okay, go.
Which was another thing we
Oh wait,
spoke
there was
about.
another bit of CGI I laughed at. Idris Elba's face in front of the satellite looks so fucking dopey.
I don't think that was. I think that was just strange framing. I don't think that was.
It was
CGI.
definitely strange framing. You're right. It wasn't CGI.
Yeah.
But still, it was probably composited, like just him green screen
Oh,
and then just cut on top.
or something.
But like just the framing of his head, half the frame, and a satellite in the background looks
think
like, you know, those like
it's supposed
photos
to be
people
symmetry because he himself is a satellite.
get. Yeah, he's picking up the signals and things. Like,
Basically-
I got the imagery.
Yeah.
It just looks silly.
yeah.
Yeah, in a way that I can't really articulate why.
I wish I could
It
remember
looks
the
like-
reaction in cinemas. I really don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't think it got
You probably
one,
didn't
no.
notice that scene much, like didn't notice that shot out of the sea much like
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
But it looks like, have you seen those photos online of like someone in the frame and then like a double exposure of their own face in the background and then
Yeah.
a cat or something? It looked like that to me.
I mean, in a way,
Yeah.
it was.
All right, Ben,
I was,
do your thing.
I was going to say,
I'm still here.
another thing that me and Stu talked about before we watched the film was what your favourite of the anthology stories was going to be. So whether
Okay.
it's Sheba, the whole section in the Ottoman Empire,
Yeah, the Suleiman Magnificent
yeah.
bit.
Zafir, or the fourth with Alethea in London.
Ooh, that's difficult.
You can split everything within.
Sheba was good, but was probably the most straightforward, plain bit of story. Like, he loves someone, another guy comes along and out-wizards him. What was the second one again?
The Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, the whole
You could split
Ottoman
that
section.
bit.
Ottoman section was great. It was quite long.
You can split that up, to be honest.
Yeah,
There was
because
a
that
few
one had its
stories.
own subsections, like the boy and the giantess, which you giggled at.
Knew
Yeah.
it was coming.
I mean, so Ottoman. All right, so Sheba, I probably rank last. Ottomans, I think. Ottomans is probably like second or third. Zathea, I think was above present day.
Zafir.
Zafir, sorry. To be honest, I kept seeing the subtitles and the name at the bottom, and it was narrated, so it would be like Elethea or whatever it was as well.
In our section, we didn't actually call it bingo, but we had a private, unspoken bet with ourselves of which
Yeah.
bit you'd like most. Ben
Okay.
wins. Congratulations.
I thought that you would like Zafir. The
It
most.
is a good bit.
To
It
be honest,
kind of reminds me of in the Neil Gaiman book Sandman, Calliope. There's a bit where a guy basically kidnaps one of the ancient Greek muses, Calliope, obviously, and uses it to become like a world famous author. And she's also very much trapped and ends up getting saved by the Sandman. Yeah, no, it was a good bit.
nice.
I like that one of them chose a wish that was something not necessarily I would do. I probably wouldn't pick that. To be honest, I would do what the main character did. I would be like,
No, but
it's risky wishes.
It's about your heart's desire, though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like you said, I can't grant it unless it's something that you truly want.
Yeah.
Which is, I
Because
know
one of the
exactly-
things with a lot of these stories is that most of the stories happen Most of these kinds of stories, especially the ones that are like cautionary tales, be careful what you wish for, are a simple, vain person who knows what they want, suddenly gets given the chance to take it without going through the process or considering the consequences. Like the first woman being pregnant with the Ottoman prince's child. I don't know if it's a boy or girl. Like she immediately has a wish. She immediately has a second one, and then a third one. She realizes what she's done.
The monkey paw story, basically.
The story now of someone, the present day story of
Alethe.
Tilda Swinton, like her being so uncertain. This whole story only works because it contains stories of people who just make a fucking decision. Like they just decide what they want and take it.
Yeah.
But like her one works, her working through the process of it by taking people who actually decide what they want and seeing what they did and then still making a mistake. Yeah, it was really interesting.
So I was looking up the name Aletheia because I was wondering about that.
Yeah, it's got to be a reference.
In Greek baby names, the meaning of the name Aletheia is truthful.
Yeah.
Mythological goddess of truth.
Oh, okay.
So because I'm like, that is no way that's an English name.
Yeah. Welsh at best.
Breaking it down even further,
It was my favourite frame of the movie.
did you have a favourite scene?
Favourite scene?
So it doesn't have to
Ooh.
be within the favourite like anthology story that you've chosen.
Favourite scene? I'm not sure. Some of them, just like the narration and they're just showing cool visual art,
Oh yeah.
were pretty cool. But I don't know if they're my favourite scene. Because it's really shots in that I liked and just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Whole scenes? Maybe coming home and the djinn, dying in the cellar. The bit where she comes home and has to find the djinn not being there and there's clearly dust floating in the air and the cupboard's open, which was a bit blind of her.
Yeah.
But like that whole thing of her finding out what's going on was quite a good culmination of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like, I guess something had to happen. She couldn't just go, I wish you loved me, and then cut to credits. They all live happily ever after.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you needed.
There was a bit where I thought it was cutting to credits.
To be fair, that would have been a very strong ending. I
It
wouldn't
would have been
blame.
a fucking bold ending. I don't know if
Yeah.
it would have been strong, but I was like, damn, that's a hard ending.
I like it as a happy ending.
Yeah.
Like it's
Bittersweet.
It's bittersweet, but more on the sweet side, I think.
Yeah.
Like he's making a compromise to be with her.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
Well,
she in turn, she's compromising. She's giving him
Well,
up.
he's doing
Yeah.
what she said. He is voluntarily giving it to her.
yeah.
Really giving it to her. Just as in like he is actually making a voluntary choice and also sacrifice to come and share some love, basically. In exactly the way she described and wanted, because she set him free and he came back, and that's the bittersweet ending.
Love is conscious and unconscious. Love is effort. No, it is.
You
have
hear
to
this,
put-
Anne Marie? Your effort.
No, you know what I mean. You can't just whimsy your way through a relationship. You have to put work in, and that's what they both do in the end and stuff. Because Tilda Swinton's ex-husband and stuff, he accuses her of not being in the relationship, not being emotional, not being there for him.
Well, he accuses her of not understanding his emotions, and I think
Yeah.
it's quite implied the main character's autistic.
Yeah.
It's very much implied because she's actually preoccupied. But you notice in the opening scenes, whenever she talks to an actual human, she does not make any eye contact or try. Like,
Fair enough.
yeah, she's also like on the plane doing the like reading with her finger, restless leg syndrome thing, which is more ADHD, but they overlap.
Okay.
But like, not understanding his emotions is simultaneously a thing of him being selfish and not communicating his emotions, but also could just be autistic.
I like
It
that-
could be both.
We don't know what year this took place. Stigma is what it is.
I like that
She could just not know.
I like that they don't say explicitly like what it is, and it's just quite like a natural representation of a character that just so happens to be autistic or have
Yeah.
ADHD. Unlike that,
Well, it just happens to may have it.
yeah,
To be
Or
fair,
autism,
there
I mean.
was a time you just got, lack of a better term, quirky characters that were enjoyed their own company and were reclusive.
Yeah.
People, because again, pardon the phrasing, but autism is relatively new in terms of public understanding.
Yeah. I mean, that is noticeable in some old books where
Yeah.
someone will write a character based on, their granddad or someone they know.
Yeah.
And now in retrospect, you'd be like, whoever you based this on was fucking autistic, bro.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. It's like people didn't know until
Yeah.
later.
Like,
So
if you ever read A
maybe-
Confederacy of Dunces,
No.
it's prophetic in how it understands like all the types of characters of guys you get.
Yeah.
Where there's the sort of fat incel chud guy, there's the sort of weird nerd, there's the sort of, outgoing, just sort of normal people, basically. Or typical people, I guess. And, like, people have never changed. We've just started understanding them and actually allowing them to be things in a way that before allowing autistic people to just be was mostly giving them a shed and some trains.
Yeah.
And just being like, as long as you have a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to something I think was under noticed
Okay.
when the film came out, which is the soundtrack.
It's
It does
subtle.
sound good. It's
It's
very
beautiful.
It doesn't draw attention to itself.
No, but like if you listened, I've got it on my Spotify playlist. It's so good.
When the guy was serenading Sheba and his instrument starts growing magical bits,
That's my
that
favorite
music
scene.
was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I didn't notice the soundtrack much otherwise. Maybe I should listen.
So that's-
it's subtle. It's
that-
really subtle. It enhances but doesn't distract.
That's the music that I was talking about. They keep kind of going back to it throughout the film, and yeah, I just think it's been under noticed. I think it was kind of a crime that it wasn't even discussed when the Oscars came around.
Didn't even get a nod.
No, and
That's
that's
a British movie. Like, was it a big release?
kind of no. It wasn't a big release.
No.
It does not have a huge budget. It did not get a big marketing campaign. It's like
Stuart said it was mid-COVID.
yeah.
It came out in 2022. I can only assume all the masks rampant. It was filmed in 2020.
So let me get the.
2020, 2021.
I'm going to get the IMDb page
Get
up
the
quickly.
page up. Okay, while Ben's Googling...
What
I will
else
say
did you
this.
guys think I would think?
The thing is, I hadn't watched it in such a long time. One thing that struck me that I really liked watching it now, colour scheme.
Yes,
It
it's very
gets
saturated.
but it's not distractingly
Doesn't look like an
saturated. It looks
Instagram
like
filter.
a painting. And it doesn't go Instagram. It goes creative.
The boldest it gets, like the most obvious it gets, is when he does go outside and look in the garden when they return to London.
Yeah.
The sky is very blue, the plants are extremely green.
Yeah.
But, like, honestly, with anything like that, you get used to it quite quickly. But
One thing I liked, is something I always like, is when the characters' costumes change with their state of mind. And so she starts off beige, she's plain, but then suddenly she starts wearing pink. And then at the end she's wearing red. Red. Colour of passion, fire, power. And the genie himself, for a lot of the movie, he's wearing red. He is coveted, he is sin, he's sexy.
yeah, powerful. if it's
Yeah,
correct,
and power, fire, power, red, and
Yes.
stuff. And then at the very end, they've swapped colour schemes and stuff. He's back with his people where he can be himself and he's boring again. And
he's
she,
wearing like a, was it grey or
big
brown
red, brown overcoat.
Yeah.
And she's wearing pink and she's wearing red. But,
Because she is self-actualized, where he is like coming back just to see her.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, her basement, the red light, that's where her passion is buried and stuff. All her ex-husbands and ex-lovers, they're in a box down there.
Oh yeah, red, big theme of power throughout. Really, I'm mostly just thinking when he has to find the red thread
Yeah.
in the maze, and it's the one that wraps around his pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
it's
it-
sort of throughout. Yeah,
It's so much to think about with just colour. It's so simple, but it's genius.
Yeah.
If you
that's
notice,
like
the light pulley thing at the end was also made of the red thread.
yes,
Yeah.
I did notice that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so the IMDb page, for context, the film has 52,000 votes in terms of the ratings, which isn't a lot.
How did it do
What
on
was
box
it rated,
office?
though?
What's its
So-
budget?
I was going to ask you, what rating would you give it?
Is it out of 5 or 10?
10.
Okay, I'd give it. I mean, if I was doing it out of 100, I'd maybe go slightly less. But like, I'd give it a 9. It was a really good movie.
Wow.
Like, if it was out of 100, I'd give it like 86.
Okay.
So it rounds to 9. But
That's actually higher than I gave it like an 8, and I really like it.
yeah, no, that was a solid fucking movie.
Now, can you believe
Did they give it a 3?
the heresy? What only can be seen as heresy on IMDb.
What'd they give it?
They've given this film a 6.7.
Ah,
Which, for context, I think ranks it 0.1 lower than Thor: The Dark World. Which,
okay.
Jesus Christ, guys.
Okay.
I mean, online ratings are always sort of
Skewed.
a bit fucky. Because, like, they're always filtered for the people who will rate a movie.
But Thor: The Dark World.
Okay, it's definitely better than For the Dark World.
A lot.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure Ant-Man 3 got higher than this as well. Like,
Well, it deserved it.
Me
Prize.
myself, I'd probably give it a good plus or a great minus. I think it's somewhere between good and great. I think.
Okay, so we're just going 3 completely different ratings.
Oh yeah, I fundamentally do not agree with rating anything creative with numbers. You can't do it. It's
Okay,
stupid.
so a 7.5 for you.
No, fuck off.
I'm an 8, and Matt is an 8.6, which translates to good,
Yeah, I'll give it a good.
You said good plus.
Good plus.
good plus, great, verging on amazing,
Great plus.
great plus.
I think we're wrapping up.
I was going to say the last question that I was going to
Okay,
ask
sorry.
Okay,
Matt.
maybe one more question.
before we wrap up. Would you watch this again?
Yes. I probably will do to watch it with Lucy, because I think she'll like it.
You think Lucy will like it? Because I said I think it might be too weird for Lucy.
No, I think she'd like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I
I mean, Lucy doesn't mind weird. What she doesn't like is sort of horror and sort of strangeness. Where weird and strange being different in terms of whether you're supposed to be comfortable or not.
Okay, that's a fair assessment.
Did Anne-Marie watch it?
She's not watched it, no.
Oh.
Again, it's difficult because I said to Ben at the beginning and stuff, she sat through part of The Shape of Water and she sort of dismissed it with, okay. And I'm like,
Oh, I remember watching fucking The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Lucy.
and she hated it.
At the whole beginning, she was like, what is the point of this? And as soon as they got to the drug scene, where it finally admits that it's just a straight comedy movie,
Yeah.
she was like, oh, I get it now. This is great. And really
enough.
enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I think it's because, like, if you go in thinking it's just a movie about a Nick Cage, sort of a what's the word?
Biopic about Nick Cage.
Well, not a biopic. If you think it's just a fictionalized Nick Cage movie,
Yeah.
it seems a bit silly and weird and kind of basic.
She
And then
didn't-
once you get to comedy, you're like, okay,
She
this is
didn't
fun.
pick up that it's a comedy from his ghost showing up as one of his old characters to tell him that he's Nicolas fucking Cage.
That's actually fairly late on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he showed
Well,
up.
I think it does, but I think she might have just thought it was a kind of bold thing. But like, regardless, even if she picked up it was a comedy, she didn't like. I think she thought it was being weird and pretentious rather than
Fair enough.
outlandish and funny.
Fair enough.
It was when they get on the drugs and there's just normal straight jokes where she was like on board.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess me and you had the benefit of, I want to say, not hindsight, but advertising. We knew it was a comedy going in.
Yeah.
Also, it's a movie called The Unbearable Weight of Massive
Yes.
Talent. It could only be a
It
comedy.
does. Well, it sounds like it could just be very pretentious.
Yeah, but that's terrible.
Yeah. But everyone likes Pedro Pascal. So.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley, next time you and Anne-Marie come round, we should show Lucy and Anne-Marie the movie, because I think they would like this.
Okay, we should do that.
Yeah.
It's a double date, Ben. Get a girlfriend.
Oh, motherfucker. Stuart, you motherfucker.
What,
I was just about to be like, so, you know, Lucy hasn't seen it, Anne-Marie hasn't seen it. Ben, what did your girlfriend think? But you stole my bit, and now
Yeah.
Ben looks sad.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Poor
die
Ben.
alone. Oh.
For the benefit of anyone listening, I'm gently patting Ben on the head and going, there.
He's not.
Next week, we're going back to I say next week, next season at this point. We're going...
Next year.
Yeah, next year, I guess. We're going to do a Ben movie. So a movie that me and Matt have watched, or one of us have watched, but Ben specifically hasn't.
Yes.
We're gonna
So we're going to come
reconvene.
together and guess what you think.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of this format, by the way? I like it.
I like it too.
I like it.
Yeah, I like getting one person's theory at the beginning as well.
Yeah. So this has been. You should watch 3,000 Years of Clapping Tilda Swinton. And also, it's such a surprise. Like, I guess because she's wise or something, but like, I keep forgetting that her and Idris Elba are basically the same age
Yeah.
and stuff.
It might just be how much of this movie is a man and a woman who are probably going to fuck in a hotel room chatting. That it really reminded me of Good Luck to You, Leo Grand. In a sort of... Oh, okay. It's a very sex-positive movie about a RE teacher getting a male prostitute in a hotel room
Sweet.
after
Oh,
her husband died.
I've
or
seen
thereabouts.
the.
I've seen.
the
Is that the
trailer
one with
for it,
Nanny McPhee gets a gigolo?
I don't think it's Nanny McPhee. I'm not sure.
No, it's the guy out of Peaky Blinders whoring himself.
Yeah.
To Nanny McPhee.
Was it Nanny
Peaky
McPhee?
Blinders? I thought he was from Sex Education. I'm not sure.
Emma Thompson.
He's definitely in Peaky Blinders.
Let me just double check. I think you're right about Emma Thompson.
Yeah, and Emma Thompson is Nanny McPhee.